All right, so we'll see if anyone joins or who does join. And if they do, we can answer some questions and stuff. Otherwise, for the most part, I'll kind of treat this like a recorded video lesson. So that way you'll be able to watch it and know what you're doing for this assignment. So we're looking at graphing systems of inequalities. Now, if you remember, we have graphed systems of equality, or we have graphed just a single inequality before. So now the only difference is we're graphing two of them. And then at the bottom of the question is just going to ask us for an example of a point that's in the solution set. So if I start, say, with this first line here, y is greater than or equal to 2x minus 4. I'm going to graph it like I always would because it's in y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to have a point at minus 4 or negative 4 on the y-axis. It's a slope of 2. So that'd be 2 over 1, up 2, right 1. That line looks positive. My slope is a positive 2. So that line looks good to me. Then I have an option of change line. If I click that button, it switches back and forth between solid and dashed. And in this case, because our greater than symbol is also equal to, meaning it has this line underneath it, I want it to be a solid line, not a dashed line. So again, you might remember that from when we graphed single inequalities before, but just as a refresher. And the other button changes the shading. So do I want to shade above my line or below? Well, since my sign is greater than or equal to, I want points that are above my line, which would be up here. So I'm going to change the shading to up there. So now my first line is graphed. That's my first one. Now if I go to the second one, y is greater than negative x plus 2. So again, I start with my y-intercept of 2, positive 2 on the y-axis. My slope here, I just see this negative, so that's like negative 1. So if I want to make negative 1 a fraction, I could put it over 1. So negative 1 over 1. That means down 1, right 1. So I go there. That line looks negative, and my slope is a negative. So that looks good to me. Do I want to change my line? Do I want it solid or dashed? Well, again, so now since this one does not have an equal to line underneath, this one I want to be dashed. So I have a dashed line, and then it's greater than again, so I want it to be shaded above. So this green area is technically above my dashed highlighted line. It's highlighted because it's selected right now. If I switch over to line 1, then line 1 is highlighted. So there's my two lines, one solid, one dashed, both shaded above because they're both greater than. Now the only thing I have left to do is pick a point. The point needs to be in the solution set for the system, which means it's in this area that got overlapped shading. It got shaded twice. So the purple is all this area above our first line, the solid line, and the green is this area, which is above the dashed line or the dotted line. So this is the area that got shaded twice. So I could pick any ordered pair that's in here. So for example, I could pick a point like 2, 3. That point would be right here. So 2, 3 would be in my solution set. I just hit submit answer. So there we go, first one done. Let's look at another one. Try to find one maybe that's a little bit different. All right, let's do this one. So again, first line, I'm just thinking y equals mx plus b. My y-intercept's at plus 2, so positive 2 on the y-axis. And then a slope of negative 2/3 tells me to go down 2, right 3, right? Rise over run. Rise 2, run 3, and make sure my line's negative, which it is because it's sloping downward. Do I want to change my line? In this case, no, because there's an equal to, so I want a solid line. And my symbol is less than, so I want this to be shaded below, which in this case would be down here. For the second line, y-intercept is negative 4, so I go to negative 4 on the y-axis. My slope is 4 over 3. That's a rise of 4 and a run of 3. and I want it to look positive like this because the slope is positive. So that looks good. My line's on its way up. I don't see an equal to underneath my less than, right? There's no line under here like there is on this one. So this line we want to be dashed. And again, this one's less than, so I want this one to be shaded below as well. So this green area is now below that dashed line. Now the overlapped region is everything down here. So I might pick a point like, well, let's pick a weird one just to prove a point. I could pick a point like 8, -7, right? 8, -7 would be here. That's in the double shaded region. So 8, -7 is going to work as a solution. All right, let me do one more. Here's a good one. Let me get a different one. I want one where they're going different ways, but also one that has some other stuff. Okay, perfect. This one looks good. All right, so first line, y-intercept is +8. Slope is -1/3, so that means rise 1, run 3, and it needs to look negative because my slope is negative, so that's sloping downward, so that looks good. So here's Zach. Hey, what's up, Zach? You're the only one here, so I'm just going through an example here, and then if you have any questions, I can answer them for you. Oh, here's some more people. All right, here's Maddie coming in. All right. See once Maddie gets in here. Might take her a second. Oh, there she is. Hey, Maddie. Just a couple of you guys in here. So I'm going through an example right now, kind of finishing that up. And then if you guys have questions on either this or last night's assignment, you can ask them. So basically, I'm in the process of graphing this first line here. So the y-intercept is 8, so I put a point at +8 on the y-axis. Slope is -1/3, so I rose 1 and ran 3, and it looks negative, so that looks good. I could have gone up and then left if I wanted to. And then since I have an equal to under this greater than sign, I'm going to keep it solid. I'm not going to make it dashed. And then since the symbol is greater than, I want my shading to be above my line. So that takes care of the first line. Second line has a y-intercept of -4. So point at -4. Slope is 5/3 positive. So rise 5 up and run 3. If I go to the right, then my line looks positive. It's going up. So that looks good. I'm going to change it to dashed because this does not have an equal to line underneath it. So I need a dashed line. And then since it's less than, my shading is going to be below, which is down here below my line. Then what I look for is the area that got shaded twice. So the overlap shading would be just this small region up here. And then the last thing I have to do is pick a point that's in that region. So any point in that region. So I could pick a point like say 9, 7. So 9, 7 over 9 up 7 would be right here. So I'm going to pick that point. Whoops. 9, 7. There we go. So this is the third example I've actually done for those of you two that just got on here. I could do another example right now if you want, or if you guys have questions, again, about either this from what you're seeing or last night's assignment, you can ask them now. Otherwise, I'm not going to keep the Zoom going too much longer because I just wanted to explain a few examples so that I have this video that I can post so that people can watch it. So anything from you guys? Okay. If not, then I'll probably just end this so that I have the video and I'll post it right away. And then you guys will be good to go. So, all right. See you tomorrow.